Have you ever looked into the mirror, not to check how you look, but to ask yourself, am I living wisely? This simple yet profound question has the power to open a doorway to self-awareness. It's not about how much knowledge you've accumulated or how impressive your accomplishments are. True wisdom is not just about the books you've read or the titles you've earned. It's about how you live, how you respond to life's challenges, and how you treat others when no one is watching. In Buddhism, wisdom is viewed as the ability to understand the nature of suffering and, more importantly, to rise above it. It's not just something you think about, it's something you live through mindfulness, compassion, and self-awareness. The wise person knows that wisdom is a practice, not an abstract concept. But here's the thing, we often get so wrapped up in the noise of life that we forget to check in with ourselves. We don't pause long enough to reflect on whether we're truly living with wisdom. Today I want to dive into 7 signs that could show us where we might be falling short in living wisely. These signs aren't meant to judge. They're an invitation to reflect and grow. They're an opportunity to gain clarity on the small habits and patterns that may be keeping us from our fullest potential. Are you ready to step back, look deeply, and embark on a journey of self-reflection? If so, let's explore these signs together and take the first step toward a wiser, more fulfilling life. Sign 1. Prioritizing appearance over character. In today's world, appearances often take the spotlight. We are surrounded by images of perfect beauty, whether it's on social media, in fashion magazines, or on the big screen. A woman with flawless makeup, designer clothes, and a perfectly curated social media profile might look like she has it all. At first glance, it seems like she's living her best life. But take a deeper look, and you might find something else: a lack of substance. This obsession with outward appearance is nothing new. It's a part of human nature, shaped by society and culture. But in Buddhism, this attachment to outward beauty reflects something deeper: our attachment to the illusion of self. The Buddha taught that the self we cling to, our looks, possessions, and achievements, is fleeting. These things are impermanent, and when we attach our worth to them, we set ourselves up for suffering. The Buddha taught that true beauty comes from within, from the cultivation of our mind and character. As he said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. This means that our real worth isn't about how we look or what we own. The more we focus on external beauty, the more we miss what truly matters: the quality of our thoughts, actions, and how we treat others. In Buddhism, we practice equanimity, an inner peace that isn't disturbed by the world around us. Instead of focusing on how we look, we should focus on who we are inside: our kindness, humility, and wisdom. These are the qualities that define us, not the makeup we wear or the clothes we put on in the morning. The Buddha once spoke to a woman named Visakha, who was worried about losing her beauty as she aged. He told her, "Do not fear the decay of your beauty. What is more important is the beauty of your character, the beauty of your mind." This wisdom reminds us that true beauty lasts far beyond the surface, in the way we live and interact with others. So the next time you find yourself fixating on how you look, ask yourself, am I cultivating the qualities that will last? Kindness, wisdom, and compassion. True beauty lies in how we grow as people, not in how we look on the outside. Sign 2. Ignoring self-responsibility. In Buddhism, one of the most important teachings is karma, which means that our actions, thoughts, and intentions shape our lives. What we do and how we react to the world has consequences. The Stoics, too, believe that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we always have control over how we respond. It's easy to blame others when things go wrong. We blame our circumstances, our families, or even fate. But blaming others takes away our power. True freedom comes when we take responsibility for our actions and reactions. When we take ownership of our lives, we unlock the power to change. A powerful Buddhist story illustrates this. One day, a man approached the Buddha and complained about the world being unfair. He blamed everyone and everything for his troubles. The Buddha asked him, "If someone gives you a gift and you choose not to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The man answered, "It belongs to the giver." The Buddha smiled and said, "In the same way, if someone offers you anger or resentment and you choose not to accept it, it does not affect you." This story teaches us that we have the power to choose how we react. Even when life is difficult, we can choose to respond with wisdom and compassion instead of anger or blame. Self-awareness is the key to taking responsibility for our lives. By recognizing when we're blaming others, we can shift our mindset and start owning our choices. When we take responsibility, we don't see it as a burden, but as an opportunity for growth. Life's challenges become stepping stones for wisdom. The next time you face a difficult situation, instead of blaming others, ask yourself, what role did I play in this? What can I learn from this experience? Sign 3, overvaluing others' opinions. In today's world, we are more connected than ever, yet often we are more disconnected from our true selves. Social media in particular has created a culture of validation where our worth is measured by the opinions of others. We post pictures, share thoughts, and anxiously check our notifications to see how we've been received. But the danger here is clear. When we base our self-worth on the approval of others, we lose our inner compass. The Buddha often spoke of the importance of detachment. He taught that our happiness should not depend on how others perceive us or what others think of us. The approval of others is fleeting, and seeking it will only lead to anxiety and insecurity. In Buddhism, we are reminded that true peace and happiness come from within, not from external validation. A famous Buddhist story tells of a monk named Bodhidharma, who spent many years meditating in a cave. One day, a fellow monk asked him, "Master, why are you always meditating? Are you seeking something from the world?" Bodhidharma replied, "I do not seek anything from the world. I seek only peace within myself." In this story, Bodhidharma teaches us a powerful lesson. When we are centered within ourselves, the opinions of others no longer hold power over us. We stop seeking external validation because we know who we are and what we stand for. Self-awareness is key to living authentically, and this is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism. When we align with our values and act with integrity, we no longer need approval from others to feel whole. True wisdom is not about conforming to the expectations of others. It's about being true to ourselves, acting with integrity, and making decisions that align with our deepest values. In Buddhism, the practice of mindfulness helps us tune into our own thoughts, emotions, and actions, allowing us to live authentically, regardless of the opinions of others. The next time you find yourself worrying about what others think, pause and reflect. Am I living according to my own values? Am I acting with integrity, or am I trying to please others at the expense of my own well-being? True wisdom comes from within. When we stop seeking validation from the outside world, we can truly live in peace and harmony with ourselves. Sign 4, emotional instability and overreaction. We've all been there. Something small happens and suddenly it feels like the whole world is crashing down. Maybe it's a minor inconvenience that spirals out of control, or a slight comment that triggers an emotional meltdown. We react in anger, fear, or frustration, and before we know it, our emotions have completely taken over. The problem isn't the emotions themselves, it's how we react to them. Both Stoic philosophy and Buddhism offer valuable insights on how to handle our emotions wisely. In both traditions, emotional instability is seen as a sign of not being in control of ourselves. Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, believed in practicing restraint over emotions. They taught that while we can't avoid feeling things, we can choose how we react to those feelings. Buddhism also encourages this approach. Mindfulness teaches us to recognize our emotions without letting them control our actions. The Buddha said, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." This simple teaching shows us that emotions are not inherently bad, but when we act on them impulsively, they can cause harm. In Buddhism, we are encouraged to practice mindfulness, to become aware of what we're feeling in the moment without letting it take over. Think of it like this. You're walking through life and something triggers you, a rude comment, a stressful situation, or even just a small inconvenience. If you let anger or frustration take over, it's like pouring fuel on a fire. It only gets worse. But if you can pause, take a deep breath, and observe your feelings without acting on them immediately, you gain the power to choose a calm, wise response. There's a beautiful story about the Buddha that illustrates this point. A man filled with anger and resentment came to the Buddha and began hurling insults at him. The Buddha calmly responded, "If someone offers you a gift and you choose not to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The man said, "It belongs to the person who gave it." The Buddha then said, "In the same way, if someone offers you anger and hatred and you choose not to accept it, it belongs to the person who gave it, not you." This story teaches us that we don't have to accept the anger or negativity that others try to throw our way. When we react calmly and thoughtfully, we stay in control of our emotions instead of letting them control us. So next time you feel a rush of anger, fear, or sadness, take a step back. Breathe, reflect. Ask yourself, how can I respond with wisdom and compassion instead of reacting impulsively? By practicing emotional equanimity, you'll learn to stay grounded, no matter what life throws at you. Sign 5. Materialism and greed. In a world that constantly pushes us to buy more, own more, and look the part, it's easy to believe that happiness comes from what we possess. Whether it's the latest phone, designer clothes, or a bigger house, we are told that possessions are the key to happiness. But is that really true? Buddhism teaches us a different way of thinking. The Buddha warned that attachment to material things is a source of suffering. He said, "Desire is the root of all suffering." No matter how much we get, there's always something more to chase. The more we accumulate, the more we feel empty inside. Think about it. You get that new gadget, that shiny car, or those fancy clothes, and at first you feel great. But then, after a while, the excitement fades. You start thinking about the next thing you need to buy, and the cycle continues. The pursuit of material goods doesn't fill the deeper need for meaning and inner peace. It's an endless chase that only leads to frustration. A beautiful Buddhist story illustrates this point. Ksitigarbha, a revered bodhisattva, took a vow to never rest until all beings were freed from suffering. He lived a simple life, renouncing the need for luxury, not because it was required, but to show others that true happiness doesn't come from what we own. True wealth is found in inner peace, compassion, and contentment. Buddhism teaches us the middle path, a life of balance. It's not about renouncing everything, but about living with what we need and letting go of the endless desire for more. True happiness comes from cultivating inner wealth, mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, not material possessions. When we stop focusing on acquiring more things, we begin to see the richness of life itself. We find joy in simple moments, in connection with others, and in the peace that comes from within. So the next time you find yourself craving more things, ask yourself, what is this really giving me? Is this pursuit adding meaning to my life, or just filling a temporary void? True fulfillment doesn't come from what we own. It comes from the wisdom, compassion, and peace we cultivate inside. Sign 6. Avoiding self-reflection and growth. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, always running from one task to another, constantly looking outward. But in all that chaos, there's one powerful tool we often overlook: self-reflection. The habit of avoiding self-reflection can be incredibly destructive. Without it, we're trapped in old patterns, repeating the same mistakes and wondering why things never seem to change. Buddhism teaches that self-reflection is essential for understanding our suffering and finding the path to wisdom. The Buddha often said that ignorance is the root cause of suffering. When we don't understand our own minds, we can't break free from the patterns that cause us pain. The practice of Vipassana, insight meditation, helps us look deeply at ourselves, our thoughts, emotions, and actions, and uncover the causes of our suffering. The Buddha said, "What you think, you become." If we don't take time to reflect on our thoughts and actions, we allow our unconscious patterns to control us. But when we practice self-reflection, we start to see ourselves clearly, without the filter of pride or denial. This helps us understand why we do the things we do, and it gives us the chance to make better choices in the future. A story from the Buddha's life illustrates this beautifully. A disciple once asked him, "Master, how can I grow in wisdom?" The Buddha replied, "Look within. Ask yourself, what am I attached to? What am I avoiding?" Only through self-awareness can true wisdom arise. This teaches us that growth starts from within. We can't change what we don't understand, and we can't improve without first acknowledging where we are. Self-reflection isn't about criticizing yourself. It's about becoming aware of your actions and your mindset so that you can grow. When we learn from our mistakes and make choices with awareness, we unlock our potential for change and transformation. So ask yourself, when was the last time I took a moment to reflect on my life? Am I avoiding looking inward because I'm afraid of what I might find? Real growth comes from being honest with ourselves and choosing to learn from every experience. Reflection helps us evolve and live more mindfully. Sign 7. Talking more than listening. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the noise. Everyone has something to say, and sometimes it feels like we need to be heard to be valued. But true wisdom isn't about talking more. It's about listening deeply, both to others and to ourselves. Buddhism emphasizes the power of silence and listening. The Buddha was known for his silence just as much as for his teachings. He understood that silence doesn't mean ignorance. It means we're creating space to truly listen to others and to the wisdom within ourselves. Wisdom arises when we listen with an open heart, without judgment or the need to speak over others. Listening is an act of mindfulness. It's not just hearing the words, but really paying attention to what's being said, understanding the emotions behind the words and the intentions of the speaker. When we listen, we allow ourselves to understand others on a deeper level. We also allow ourselves to learn and grow by hearing perspectives that challenge our own. There's a beautiful story about a monk who asked the Buddha for advice on how to grow in wisdom. The Buddha simply told him, "If you want to grow in wisdom, listen more and talk less." This advice reminds us that listening is one of the most important tools for learning and growth. It's easy to speak and share our own thoughts, but true wisdom comes when we step back and listen attentively to what others have to say. When we talk more than we listen, we block the opportunity for growth. We miss the chance to understand others and to gain valuable insights. But when we listen carefully, we not only connect more deeply with others, we also deepen our own understanding of ourselves and the world. So next time you find yourself rushing to speak or interrupting someone, take a step back. Ask yourself, am I really listening, or am I just waiting for my turn to talk? By practicing deep listening, we invite more wisdom into our lives. We learn, we connect, and we grow. In conclusion, wisdom isn't about reaching some ideal state of perfection. It's about the continuous journey of growth, reflection, and transformation. It's about embracing the discomfort of change, learning from our mistakes, and striving for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Every small step you take towards self-awareness, responsibility, and inner peace brings you closer to the wisdom that leads to a more meaningful life. As you reflect on these 7 signs, remember that true wisdom is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. It's about being open to change, being kind to yourself as you grow, and learning to live with greater intentionality. Each sign highlights a place in our lives where we might be out of alignment with our deepest values. But once we become aware of it, change can happen in an instant. The key is awareness and commitment to growth. The power to transform your life lies within you. So take a moment to pause, breathe, and ask yourself, where can I begin to grow today? Your journey toward greater wisdom starts now, and with each new step, you'll move closer to becoming the best version of yourself. If this video resonated with you, make sure to explore more of the content on this channel. We'll continue to dive deeper into how we can all live with greater purpose, compassion, and insight. You don't want to miss out on what's next, so keep watching, keep growing, and keep transforming your life. Your next step towards a wiser, more fulfilling life is waiting for you.